In a shocking incident that stunned a Houston neighborhood, 64-year-old Steven Anderson was brutally murdered in broad daylight on May 3. The chilling act was caught on video, revealing a senseless and violent attack by 20-year-old Karon Fisher. Steven Anderson, aged 64, was a longtime resident of Houston, known for his friendly demeanor and active involvement in the community. Born in the city, he grew up in a close-knit family and attended local schools for his education. After graduating from high school, Anderson pursued higher education at a nearby university, where he studied business administration. He later joined the workforce and spent several decades working in various roles, including a lengthy career with the U.S. Postal Service. Anderson was highly respected by his colleagues and known for his dedication to his work. He was married and had children and grandchildren who were the joy of his life. Anderson cherished spending time with his family, often hosting gatherings and outings to create lasting memories. Karon Fisher, a 20-year-old individual, stands at the center of this tragic narrative. Described in court records as male but also referred to as female by law enforcement, Fisher's identity complexities add a layer of intricacy to comprehending their actions and motivations. Born and raised in Houston, Texas, Fisher's background is marked by a tumultuous history of legal entanglements and instances of violent behavior. The dichotomy between Fisher's gender identity and their legal documentation has been a source of contention and confusion within the criminal justice system, contributing to the complexity of their case. Fisher's criminal record reveals a pattern of run-ins with the law. In 2023, Fisher received a 5-year community supervision sentence for evading arrest, indicating a propensity for reckless and unlawful behavior. Additionally, in 2021, Fisher faced charges of prostitution, although these charges were ultimately dismissed due to lack of evidence or other mitigating factors. However, Fisher's legal troubles did not end there. On the same fateful day as Steven Anderson's murder, Fisher found themselves embroiled in yet another criminal incident. This time, Fisher was charged with assaulting a hospital staff member, further highlighting a concerning pattern of aggressive conduct and disregard for the law. The combination of Fisher's troubled past, ongoing legal issues, and the violent nature of their actions on the day of Anderson's murder paint a disturbing portrait of a young individual grappling with personal demons and exhibiting dangerous behavior. In the aftermath of the tragic events surrounding the murder of Steven Anderson, questions arise about the relationship dynamics between Anderson and Karon Fisher, the alleged perpetrator. While there is no concrete evidence of a prior relationship between the two individuals, neighbors recall observing Fisher in the area exhibiting erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to the incident. Witnesses report seeing Fisher frequently lingering near Anderson's residence, often muttering to themselves or engaging in confrontations with passers-by. Some neighbors recall Fisher appearing agitated or distressed, displaying signs of emotional instability or possible mental health issues. The day of the crime on May 3, as Steven Anderson was on his routine walk to pick up the mail, Karon Fisher, driving a car, intentionally ran him over. The chilling scene unfolded as Fisher's vehicle struck Anderson with terrifying force, sending him crashing onto the pavement. Shock rippled through the neighborhood as witnesses watched in horror. Moments after the initial impact, Fisher reversed the car and ruthlessly struck Anderson again, exacerbating the already devastating injuries. The community was paralyzed with fear and disbelief as the violence escalated. In a disturbing turn of events captured on video, Fisher emerged from the car with a knife in hand. Ignoring pleas for mercy, Fisher callously approached Anderson's prone body. In a gut-wrenching display of brutality, Fisher flipped Anderson's limp form over and straddled him, displaying an eerie calmness amidst the chaos. With a sickening mixture of malice and depravity, Fisher leaned in and planted a chilling kiss on Anderson's forehead before unleashing a flurry of stabbing motions. Each thrust of the knife plunged deeper into Anderson's defenseless body, leaving him grievously wounded and the onlookers paralyzed with shock. As witnesses emerged, some using their phones to document the scene and another bringing a pillow to cover Anderson's body, she then attempted to enter another car but was unsuccessful, and ultimately walked over Anderson's body and fled the scene on foot. Neighbors expressed their shock and concern, with one stating, "It's very disturbing. I have kids here, they could have been out here playing, and imagine them." Another added, "Broad daylight. People around every time and it happened right under our noses." After inflicting unspeakable harm upon Anderson, Fisher callously discarded the knife and casually walked away from the scene, leaving behind a trail of devastation. Anderson's lifeless body lay sprawled on the street, a grim testament to the senseless violence that had unfolded. Neighbors, overcome with horror and disbelief, rushed to Anderson's aid, their frantic efforts to save him in vain. As emergency services raced to the scene, Fisher made a feeble attempt to flee, trying to get into another car. When this failed, Fisher callously disregarded the gravity of their actions, callously leaping over Anderson's lifeless body and disappearing into the ether. The community was left reeling in the wake of the heinous crime, grappling with the harrowing reality of Anderson's senseless death and the profound loss that permeated their once peaceful neighborhood. Karon Fisher was quickly identified and arrested following the brutal murder of Steven Anderson.
Only on 13. It may be one of Houston's most horrifying murders caught on camera.
And it happened in full view of neighbors in a subdivision near the Gulf Freeway in the Pecan Park neighborhood. ABC 13's Brooke Taylor is joining us now here in the studio.
Yeah, and Brooke, this really shocked a lot of us here in the newsroom.
It did, and sources close to this case tell me that this is some of the most horrifying footage they have seen in their careers. Police haven't said if the victim knew the killer, but they're hoping that a neighbor's video leads to a quick conviction and justice for his family.
Only on 13, deeply disturbing and shocking video of a murder in broad daylight. On May 3rd, the victim, Steven Anderson, is walking on Woodridge Square Drive to pick up his mail, sources tell us. He turns around at the sound of a screeching car speeding right into him. We're pausing the video right before he gets hit. The car reverses and hits him again, pushing him further into the street. Neighbors are on the phone, frantically calling 911.
People to help me turn him over. They want us to turn him over.
Another neighbor comes out with a pillow. And that's when the suspect, Karon Fisher, identified in court records as a man, but also described as she by police, returns with a knife in hand. The suspect yanks and flips Anderson over, straddles him, and kisses him. We're not showing what happens next because it's too graphic, but that's when police say Fisher stabs him 9 times. She casually walks off as if nothing happened and neighbors just watch. She then tries getting into another car while talking to witnesses. When that's unsuccessful, she leaps over the body and walks away.
It's very disturbing, yeah, because, you know, I have kids here. So our kids could have been out here playing, and imagine that.
20-year-old Karon Fisher is in jail tonight, charged with murdering this 64-year-old. Her bond is set at $2 million.
Broad daylight, it was a busy intersection. It happened right under our noses, you know.
The evidence, including the graphic video of the incident, left no doubt about Fisher's involvement. Fisher was charged with the murder of the 64-year-old Anderson and is currently being held on a $2 million bond at the Harris County Jail. Fisher's criminal history contributed to the urgency and seriousness with which the case was handled. Records show that Fisher was on a 5-year community supervision for evading arrest in 2023. Additionally, Fisher faced charges of prostitution in 2021, although those charges were later dismissed. On the same day as Anderson's murder, Fisher was also charged with assaulting a hospital staff member, highlighting a troubling pattern of violent behavior. The brutal murder of Steven Anderson has left a mark on the Houston neighborhood. The violent and public nature of the crime has deeply traumatized many residents, making it difficult for them to return to their normal lives. Neighbors who witnessed the attack are particularly affected, struggling with the horrific images and sounds of that day. One neighbor, who spoke with a news reporter, Brooke Taylor, expressed profound distress over the incident, revealing that they have been unable to go to work and are seeking therapy to cope with the trauma. The community's sense of safety and peace has been shattered, with residents grappling with fear and anxiety in the aftermath of the murder. The tragic murder of Steven Anderson by Karon Fisher has had far-reaching consequences for the Houston neighborhood. The swift arrest and severe charges against Fisher reflect the gravity of the crime, while the community grapples with the emotional and psychological aftermath. As residents seek ways to heal and move forward, the memory of Anderson's life and the shocking manner of his death continue to resonate deeply within the community. We hope Steven Anderson continues to rest in peace. May Steven Anderson's story inspire us to be vigilant, compassionate, and committed to ending violence in all its forms. In loving memory of Steven Anderson, forever in our hearts.